Breaking news! There's a player on this roster that's crumbling everything the defense is trying to build, and with every snap, he's delivering gold. But what shocked me most was finding out who the Denver Broncos let slip away in absolute silence. I guarantee you'll wonder why this decision was made. Things are heated behind the scenes at the Denver Broncos, and I have some important things to discuss with you here. We know the Broncos want to reach the Super Bowl, and to do that, Sean Payton will need a roster that can handle the pressure, especially in decisive moments. I'll tell you everything I know, but before I get to it, I'll prove you've already hit the like button if you've been a Denver Broncos fan for over 20 years. It's great to see fans of all ages here on the channel. If possible, comment like this: "Go Broncos! My heart bleeds orange and blue." Now get ready, because what I discovered could completely change the Broncos season rumor mill. Here's the deal. Between Dre Greenlaw's injury and the underwhelming performances of both Alex Singleton and Justin Strnad, the linebacker position has become a gaping hole in the Broncos' defensive unit. Let's start with Singleton, who has quickly become the most glaring liability on the field. According to PFF stats compiled by Sleeper Broncos, Singleton has logged 122 snaps with just 14 tackles. That may not sound awful until you realize he has 0 tackles for loss, only 6 stops, 1 hustle stop, and 2 pressures. And the real eye-opener? He's allowed 6 catches for a total of 131 yards. That's unacceptable at any level, let alone for a starting linebacker. And that brutal 60-yard run by Jonathan Taylor in the fourth quarter? That was all Singleton. He got steamrolled and left the defense hanging. This isn't a one-off either, it's become a pattern. While Justin Strnad has looked slightly better with 90 snaps, 10 tackles, 2 tackles for loss, and a pair of sacks, his performance in run defense last week was a step backward. What we saw was the same old Strnad we've seen before, after flashing some promise back in week 1. Both players are liabilities in coverage. It's not even a debate anymore. And even when Dre Greenlaw returns, you'll still be forced to roll out one of these 2 guys alongside him. That's a scary thought. Now let's talk about Singleton's situation. Yes, he wears the C on his chest. Yes, he's considered a leader. Yes, he has the green dot. But leadership means nothing if you're dragging the defense down. Singleton was once a low-risk, high-reward pickup. Remember, back in 2022 he came in on a 1-year vet minimum deal, mostly expected to contribute on special teams. Due to injuries, he worked his way into the starting lineup and did just enough to earn a contract extension. But since then, he's been one of the worst starting linebackers in the league when healthy. He missed nearly all of last year, and now that he's back, his game has deteriorated even further. It's painfully clear. Singleton racks up volume tackles, but almost always after getting burned in coverage or losing a battle in run defense. He's not making impact plays. He's reacting, and usually too late. And it's time for Broncos country to accept the hard truth. Singleton is not the answer. The front office had chances to address this position. One of the better opportunities was Jahlani Tavai, but that ship has sailed. Jawan Bedley was available. No, he's not elite, but he would have been a major upgrade in stability. Instead, he signed to the Steelers practice squad after working out with them. That was a whiff by Denver's front office, and now we're left scrambling. As for the remaining free agents, they don't inspire much confidence. The market is dry. The Broncos would be better off sticking with what they have and trying out younger guys like Lavelle Bailey or Karen Reed. Yes, they're inexperienced, but at least there's upside. Singleton offers none right now. It might be time to roll the dice with youth rather than continue watching a veteran crumble on the field. If we're being honest, the idea of continuing to rely on Alex Singleton feels less like a football strategy and more like wishful thinking. The film doesn't lie, the stats don't lie, and more importantly, the outcomes on Sundays don't lie either. And now with Dre Greenlaw's return looming, all eyes are on who Sean Payton will trust to hold the fort alongside him. But let's not kid ourselves, even Greenlaw isn't a miracle fix. He can wear the green, sure, but one solid linebacker can't cover for the failures of the guy next to him, especially when opponents know exactly where to attack. And that's where the Broncos are especially vulnerable. Smart offensive coordinators are going to isolate Singleton or Strnad in space, force them to cover, and pick them apart. We saw it last week. We've seen it before, and unless something changes, we're going to keep seeing it. This isn't just a minor flaw, it's a target. It's a blueprint for beating the Denver defense. The situation becomes even more frustrating when you remember that Singleton is 32, coming off a major injury, and is simply not the player he once was, if he ever truly was that player to begin with. The fan base, myself included, might have overrated him based on tackle volume alone. But when you start watching closely, it becomes clear that many of those tackles come after damage has already been done. And at this level, reactive defenders who can't control gaps or cover tight ends are liabilities, plain and simple. Let's talk names. Lavelle Bailey and Karen Reed may not be household figures in Broncos country just yet, but maybe that's exactly what this defense needs. Youth, hunger, speed, potential, the willingness to take a risk on someone with upside instead of continuing to bank on a known commodity who's not performing. At this point, the risk-reward balance favors trying something new. With Bailey and Reed, at least you can live with the mistakes. They're part of the growth process. With Singleton, the mistakes just feel like regression. There's nothing to gain and everything to lose. The defensive coaching staff has a critical decision to make. Do they hold out and pray Singleton finds his old form, or do they shake up the rotation now before it's too late? If the Chargers punch Denver in the mouth next week and go up 3-0 in the division, we could be looking back at this linebacker decision as one of the season's turning points. Let's not forget, the Broncos' defense was humming last year once Singleton was sidelined. Cody Barton and Justin Strnad weren't Pro Bowlers, but they were steady. Barton in particular was solid in coverage, limiting big plays and showing the kind of instinct that's been lacking this season. And yes, Barton gave up some plays, but he didn't blow assignments. That difference matters. And now, seeing the drop-off without him, Broncos fans are starting to realize just how much he brought to the table. And here's the kicker. Denver had one last shot at veteran help. Jawan Bentley, not a game-changer, but a reliable piece. That window closed fast when the Steelers picked him up for their practice squad. It's a move that stings because it shows the front office saw the issue but didn't act decisively. Now what's left? A barren free agent pool and the hope that a young guy like Reed or Bailey can step up, or worse, the hope that Singleton somehow turns the clock back. That brings us to the trade market. There are whispers about monitoring teams like the New Orleans Saints, who might be in sell mode soon. The obvious connection here is Demario Davis, a familiar face for Sean Payton, a savvy veteran, still decent in coverage. But let's be real, he's 36 years old. Are the Broncos really going to send draft capital to New Orleans for a linebacker on the wrong side of his career curve? As desperate as things look, that move would feel more like patchwork than progress. The truth is, the Broncos painted themselves into this corner. They bet on continuity and leadership over production and athleticism. That bet is now backfiring in a major way. And unless drastic changes are made soon, this linebacker issue could be what keeps Denver from turning the corner this season. So Broncos fans, I leave you with this. If Dre Greenlaw comes back this week and Singleton continues to struggle, do you think it's time to make a full change at linebacker? Should Bailey or Reed get the nod and take their shot? Or should Denver look outside, even if it means sacrificing future draft picks? Drop your answers in the comments and let's get this conversation going. And if you haven't yet, hit that like button and subscribe to the channel. It helps push this video to more die-hard Broncos fans like you. There's more content on the way, so stick around. Go Broncos, and I'll see you in the next video.